on digital radio, on the app, on your smart speaker, on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch.tv, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Football in January.
The update presented by the Sportscast.
Welcome to the Sportscast, January 8th, 2024. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Apple Podcast. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online radio. You can listen to us on the website, which is thesportscast.net, or you can follow us on X and Instagram, IG, the Sportscast 1, and also check out our app, the Sportscast for iOS in the iOS App Store. Week 18, the 2023-24 finale has wrapped it up this past weekend. I would say it ended a little bit early, not ended a little early, but we got some answers a little earlier in the day. I thought I was going to wait till a little bit later, but anyways, join us all the way from Northeast Ohio, and Madden. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Yeah, good to be back. I dressed up for the occasion and get playoffs started. I got to get playoff ready here, right?
It's January football here in the Sportscast.
Yeah.
We got to look good. This is the most important month of the year for any NFL addicts. But it was was it a crazy weekend, Dan? Or was it like, oh crap, I didn't think this team will make it? Like, what was your overall,
Yeah, it was
sentiment?
Crazy. I mean, I think the big surprise, it was Jacksonville not making it. I think starting at 8-3, Trevor Lawrence, and the expectation was for them to make it. Tennessee, just really nothing to play for it, and they go in there and lose. Trevor Lawrence didn't look right. And I think the other surprise was Green Bay. I mean, I called it, I thought a few weeks ago on the show that I thought they had a chance to make it. But, Love kicked it in gear the last, month of the season, really started to look like a franchise quarterback there. And I think that was the difference getting them there.
Yeah, as Dan said, Tennessee beating Jacksonville determined a lot of different things. It helped determine the Steelers to make it to the playoffs. That which I texted Dan, that gave a high flying for Mike Tomlin, because there were question marks about him. Quarterback Mason Rudolph is doing fantastic, and now Coach Tomlin has another week. And also Sean McDermott as well. If he would have lost last night against the Miami Dolphins, he might have had a phone call. Hey, we got to part ways and look for a whole new direction. But maybe two coaches survived last night.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Tomlin, I know the fans don't like it, but he's never had a losing season. And they just had a couple bad years here, rebuilding a little bit, but for him to get in, definitely secured any chatter that they're going to fire him. Yeah,
definitely a lot of storylines last night and some storylines this morning, which we'll get to it later in the show. But before we recap Week 18, we got a word from our special sponsors. Are you ready to accelerate your wealth and secure your family's legacy? Introducing VictorRocho.com, your cash acceleration insurance expert. At VictorRocho.com, we bring accountability to wealth creation inspired by Proverbs 13:22. Your family's financial future matters to us. Experience the power of debt-free life, our innovative insurance solution that not only protects but builds cash value over time. As your cash value grows, say goodbye to debt incrementally and watch your savings soar for a worry-free retirement, all without spending any extra money. With Debt-Free Life, you're not just securing your future, you are creating a lasting legacy for your family, achieving financial freedom and retiring with tax-favored income. Visit VictorArocho.com for more information. That's VictorArocho.com, where accountability meets prosperity. Your greatest asset is you. Go ahead and visit VictorArocho.com, which you do recognize him. He is the host of the Jersey Boys Sports Talk every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Anyways, we got the house duties set. Let's recap week 18. Dan, are you ready?
Yeah, go.
All right, let's go. On Saturday night, there was a game, Pittsburgh at the Steelers. These two are a rivalry, but the Ravens rested Lamar Jackson, OBJ, Bateman, most of the receiving core, and Baltimore was able to hold them down. Steelers beat the Ravens 7-10. Mason Rudolph threw a 71-yard touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson on the first play of the fourth quarter to secure the victory. And the Steelers did not know they were going to make the playoffs, but they needed to beat the Ravens.
Yeah, no, it was a grinding game, cold weather. Rudolph came through in the clutch. Obviously, we knew that the B team was going to be playing for Baltimore, so Steelers definitely had a chance, and they got the first part done and just got a little luck and were able to sneak in.
The Houston Texans, the new AFC South champion after this past week, and no one thought new head coach, new quarterback, young team. They beat the Colts 23-19. DJ Stroud, Dan, threw for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. He usually averages around 300, but he has secured a playoff spot in his rookie year.
Yeah, I had a lot of invested interest in this. I really didn't want to face the Browns fan, Stroud and the Texans. They're playing well right now. Really, Indianapolis handing them the game. I'm sure all you saw it. They had a chance to win the game, and Minshew had a little screen pass, a little off target but catchable, and Goodson a 3-year backup running back. Question is, why was he in the game? That the play call and personnel grouping there. So they're going to have a rough offseason. Kind of feel bad for them. They ended it on that note.
Houston's defense stops the Colts' final drive to secure the victory. Texans, fresh, new. As Dan say, they played against the Browns, but we'll get into the games of the wild card this week and later in the show. Let's go to Nashville, Dan. The Jaguars were supposed to win this game. The Titans defeated the Jaguars 28-20 in Nissan Stadium. This eliminated the Jaguars. If the Jaguars would have won, they would have made it. Maybe possibly play the Cleveland, but it did not happen. Derrick Henry actually said a goodbye at the end. But what happened to Jacksonville, Dan?
I don't know. I mean, it's probably one of the stories of the year, starting 8-3 and just seemed to be falling apart. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been banged up a little bit. He just wasn't right in this game. The balls were floating on him a little bit, just off target. Tennessee really had nothing to play for, and you think that they would just lay down, but they fought and grinded and won the game. And definitely disappointment for Jacksonville this year. Not getting in, because they were the chatter going in. Oh, look out for Jacksonville! Look out for Jacksonville! And for them not to make it, definitely discouraging for their fans.
The team of the future had a good start of the season, but they lost most of their games in December. You got to win in December, Dan, no matter what. The Browns know how to win in December.
Yeah.
Let's go to Detroit. The first 12th win in a while. The Lions beat Minnesota 30-20. The Lions had the franchise record for the most wins in the season with 12-5 overall record. Sam Laporta catched a 2-yard touchdown in the first quarter, but he got injured with a knee injury. Oh my gosh, this thing's happened. He didn't have to play, but he got injured. Jared Goff and Amon St. Brown combined for 3 touchdowns. Both teams show off their elite receivers. They're going to face their old quarterback soon, but let's focus on this game. Dan, the Lions are the real deal for the playoffs, but your thoughts over this game?
Yeah, no, it was a good back game from last week. You know, they should have won last week. I'm a little surprised that the coach didn't try to have Decker go to report for the first play and throw him a pass just to see if the refs are any better. But yeah, no, definitely a good game for Goff in that one and the Lions.
New Orleans Saints had to win this game and also some other variables, but they defeated Atlanta 48-17. They got their job done. Atlanta opened the game with a 15-yard touchdown pass from Desmond Ridder to tight end Jonnu Smith. The Saints responded with an 18-yard touchdown pass from Derek Carr to A.T. Perry. Carr also passed for 4 touchdowns in the game. New Orleans win improved the regular season record against Atlanta 55-54. And their record at the Caesars Superdome, 26-21. The Saints got rid of Atlanta, but also got rid of their coach.
Yeah, no, I was a little surprised, that they got rid of their coach. I mean, obviously, I think the decision may be made before the game, but Carr is looked good that game. A little streaky this year, but I mean, he connected this game, and obviously Ridder, I think his times are up being the quarterback there for the Falcons with the new regime coming in. I'm sure they're going to want their guy.
And one name, which I've been hearing to go to Atlanta, is Russell Wilson, be a British quarterback.
Yeah,
potentially draft a quarterback maybe this upcoming draft in the future. Because I don't think Denver wants him back. We'll talk about the Broncos a little bit later on. Bill Belichick's final game, ? Possibly after the Jets beat the Patriots 17-3. The Jets' Breece Hall rushed for 178 yards, Dan, and a touchdown in the game, which ended the 2023 NFL season and the 50-game losing streak against the Patriots. And at the end of the game, Dan and I watched as Belichick had everything covered. It could have been just a snowy day, but he looked pretty dark walking out of the stadium into the locker room. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was a boring game to start. I mean, I think it was like 6-3 for the most part of the game, but it's snowy. But it was be expected for the game. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Belichick. With his presser, it's kind of odd. They're going to make a change. And obviously, the Jets are just on the next year, and hopefully Rodgers can stay healthy and they can get it going.
Yeah, and Rodgers did have a press conference, and he said he will talk about comedian Jimmy Kimmel about this the recent skirmish they had last week. I think over, I don't know if it was a vaccine thing, but I don't remember. Anyways, they're gonna have a thing at the Pat McAfee show. Stay tuned. No kidding. The Buccaneers, they had to do a layup. Me and Dan talked about this last week. They defeat the Panthers 9-0. I think that was like 3 field goals. Buccaneers Chase McLaughlin scored 3 field goals, as he did, clinching their 3rd consecutive NFC South title and playoff berth. So the Tom Brady thing continued now with Baker Mayfield. The Buccaneers defense also put a defensive showdown, earning them their first shutout in 13 years. Congratulations to Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, no, Baker definitely gave them new life there. He didn't really have a good game this game. I mean, he's a little dinged up. Hopefully he can get healthy for the playoffs. Carolina's going to need to figure something out with their quarterback situation. If Bryce Young's the guy, or, he didn't look that great in this game.
Yeah, one thing I noticed when they interviewed Baker at the end of the game, Dan, he was thanking God a lot, because obviously he's been going he was with the Browns, by the way, and then he moved to Carolina. He played against his whole team, but it felt like a sigh of relief. It's like, I think I have solidified this position with this team. Franchise quarterback, you think there?
No, I definitely think so. It was kind of a resurgence, if you will, a little better situation than he's had in the past. So I think they'll try to build on that next year, build get some pieces around that. Next year, I think they'll even be better.
A meaningless game for the Browns, but the Bengals defeated the Browns 31-14. No, this guy, Joe Flacco, was not playing. He was in the bench with his street clothes on, I believe. Yeah. But Jake Browning for that game really he had to show a lot because he wanted to solidify that QB2 or potentially go elsewhere, maybe to Atlanta. But he threw for 3 touchdown passes, and Joe Mixon rushed for 111 yards and a score. The Bengals led 24-0 at halftime. Dan, did you watch the whole game?
No. I mean, I was hoping the Browns can at least make it a game competitive. You know, as a Browns fan, you know, you want to see that. But yeah, the Cavs were on at the same time against the Spurs, so I flipped over to that game pretty quick. You know, I'm a little torn. I mean, obviously, you don't want your guys getting hurt, but you know, I kind of like to go into the playoff game with a little mojo and that. But we'll see. I mean, I'm sure the first team will be ready to go.
Yep, and we'll see what happens with Jake Browning. We'll see if he gets started in position anywhere else or solidify that QB2 behind Joe Burrow, who was out with a high ankle sprain. So that kid gets banged up a lot unless they improve the O-line, but we'll see what happens. Green Bay beat the Chicago Bears 17-9 in Lambeau. The Packers' victory, this win, Dan, clinched their final NFC playoff spot for the first time since 2021. That's when Aaron Rodgers played. Jordan Love threw for 316 yards and 2 touchdowns to Dontayvion Wicks, while Justin Fields had 5 sacks. The Bears' offensive failed to score a touchdown, limiting themselves for 192 yards and 13 first downs. What a story for Jordan Love, Dan.
Yeah, no, I was critical on this show. You know, there really wasn't a love story there, but now he's making his own love story, and I think he's going to be the franchise guy. I mean, we're really good turnaround. He's making throws on point. He really saved the Packers season and gave them a chance to be in the playoffs. And yeah, this was definitely a good game. On the other side, it'll be interesting to see if Chicago's going to try to trade Fields. Seems to be leaning that way, so time will tell.
Yeah, and as Dan mentioned, Bears has the number 1 draft pick, so that is tempting. There is some good quarterbacks in this draft class. Justin Fields, I don't know. It's up in the air. I mean, I could keep him, but can I get a better quarterback, you know, for exchange? I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
It's hard because, I mean, in the history of Chicago, they have a history of really not developing quarterbacks. So, I mean, who might want to play there? I mean, does Williams want to play there? Probably not. So they're in a tough spot either way.
I think Cleveland was in that position not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
The Dallas Cowboys ended the Commanders season and Ron Rivera by beating them 38-10. Cowboys win secured the NFC East, Dan, and the number 2 seed in the conference. Everyone thought it was going to be the Eagles, but Prescott said no. He threw for 2 of his 4 touchdown passes to CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys did it again, Dan.
Yeah, Dak's making us eat crow. You know, we wanted to see early if Dak can play in December, and he's stepping up, you know, probably playing for a contract here and show that he's the real deal and can win big games in December and going into January. So, yeah.
And if he gets his contract renewed, then he's probably one of the most expensive quarterbacks in the world. FYI.
I would say, yep.
Prescott recorded 279 passing yards in the game. Good job for Dallas. Washington, new coach, but we'll talk about that not new coach. Coach got rid of a little bit later in the show. Let's go to Las Vegas, where the Raiders beat the Broncos 27-14. Aiden O'Connell, the Raiders quarterback, threw for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Zamir White rushed for 112 yards. Devontae Adams also had a strong showing with 126 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Some say the Raiders' victory over the Broncos helped Antonio Pierce case to remain as the full head-time coach. Dan, do you agree?
I think so. I think he's proven that he's won the locker room. I mean, his players are petitioning for him and, you know, had some big wins and battled adversity, brought the team together. So I think for sure he should secure the head coaching job.
What a story. Usually these player coaches, a lot of these players of the team kind of like want to play it more for that coach. But Antonio Pierce definitely has brought a spark, beating the Kansas City Chiefs and having a good season finale against the Broncos. The Giants, I had a feeling this was going to happen. They defeated the Eagles 27-10. The Giants scored first with a 24-yard field goal by Crosby, and Saquon Barkley scored on a 2-yard touchdown run to take a 10-0 lead. The Giants' victory ended a 5-game losing streak to the Eagles including their postseason matchup last season. But damn, the Eagles, that's the storyline right there. They lost all of December, like I believe most of December, or maybe all of it. Not looking good. They could have won the NFC East, but they lost against the Cardinals last week. Now this week with the Giants, not looking good to repeat a Super Bowl run.
No, they're going on a downward spiral at the wrong time. There's question. AJ Brown got hurt in this game. Hurts got a dislocated finger. I mean, the odds of winning. I mean, they needed some help the division. So there's questions if maybe they should have rested the guys in this. They got injuries now. So, but yeah, Eagles got problems on defense. Offensively, they're just not the team they were last year. So. It might be one and done.
One and done. They do have a not so hard game, but we'll talk about that in the wild card. Seattle beat the Cardinals by 1 point. Cardinals had a good end of the season, even though they did not pull up the win last night. Geno Smith threw a touchdown pass to Tyler Lockett with less than 2 minutes remaining in the game, and they converted a 2-point conversion to secure the win. Lockett also contributed with a touchdown and 2-point conversion. Matt Prater's 2 missed field goals also contributed to Seahawks victory. Good end of the season for the Hawks, Cardinals as well, but they did not make the playoffs. Your thoughts?
No, that's a little surprising for Seattle. I mean, coming into this year, you would think that they would have made a run in the playoffs with the pieces they had. So, yeah, disappointed. And, I think if Kyler Murray was there healthy in the beginning of the year, we'd be talking about the Cardinals, and because he really was playing well.
Also, question marks for Kyler Murray. Is he going to come back? Because I know he's up for contract renewal. Or not contract renewal, but he could be traded.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but, that's up to the management that makes the big money.
Exactly. That's way above our party grade. So we'll see. This one game I thought was meaningless, but not really. There was a seeding implication. Rams defeated the Niners 21-20. This was the first time the Rams have beaten the 49ers in the 10 regular season games, Dan. So this probably felt pretty good coming to the playoffs. Carson Wentz, he had a good game, Dan. 12-yard run and 2-point conversion pass to Tutu Atwell, but put the Rams ahead 21-10 with 4 minutes remaining. The Rams win the game with a punt with just over 1 minute remaining. The Rams clinched the NFC 6th seed and finished 10-7 record. Some hope for Carson, but good for the Rams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're a team that, they're forced to be reckoned with. They're peaking at the right time. Good win. Carson Wentz, getting another shot to show what he's got, and he succeeded.
The Chiefs can rely on their B team, Dan. They defeated the Chargers 13-12. The Chiefs rested most of their starters, including Mahomes and Kelsey, who could have broke his 1,000-yard record, but he said, "Nah, I'm good. I just want to stay healthy." He actually told Taylor Swift, "Don't worry about booking a club box at SoFi," even though it's really nice, by the way. And she canceled it. She went to the Emmys instead, and the Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12.
Yeah, no, there's no surprise to this. She actually was she was in LA, but not at the game. She was at the Golden Globes, and it was kind of funny. The comedian, she didn't think it's funny, but they said, we're coming off a doubleheader from the NFL. The only difference is we don't zoom in on Taylor Swift every other minute or something. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. No.
She doesn't. She does not take those type of humor. So,
no.
Which we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, exactly.
The last game of the night, the game that everyone was waiting for, the Buffalo Bills against the Miami Dolphins. It was a Bills win that gave them the AFC East division title and second seed in AFC playoffs for the 4th straight season. Josh Allen's back foot dart finds Dalton Kincaid for a 26-yard gain in the 4th quarter. Allen also threw a touchdown pass to Dawson Knox midway from the 4th quarter. Khalil Shakir had a good game, 6 catches for 105 yards. Stephon Diggs had 7 even for 87 yards with only 1 incompletion. Massive win by the Bills. Dolphins kept it close. They were tied 14-14, but not enough. This Bills team, look at that catch right there you see on the screen. That's why the Bills won.
Yeah, no, great catches and important moments. I mean, that catch was amazing, dragging his feet. Bills defense, I think it's a story. I mean, they looked great. I mean, they were rattling Tua all night. He didn't look right. Tyreek ended up getting hurt, came back in the game. But yeah, so I think the Bills are playing better here towards the end of the year. And, they just need to figure out their mistakes. I mean, Allen, he looks great, but then fumbles, so picks, and then looks great. So just getting some consistency with him, because they win and die with Josh Allen. I mean, let's face it. I mean, they don't have too many other weapons. I mean, Cook can get it going, but it's Josh Allen.
Is Josh Allen the John Elway with steroids?
Yeah, right.
That's what Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator of Miami, said this past week in a press conference. Well, there you have it, Week 18. So what happened in Week 18? What were the results? Where is the playoff seeding? Well, we have it right here in front of you guys. As we said before, Ravens have a bye week. First game, Cleveland at Houston. We'll go a quick run around. Then we go for each game. Miami will visit Kansas City. Pittsburgh will visit freezing Buffalo Bills. Niners have a bye week for the NFC. NFC, we're looking at the Eagles visiting Tampa. Quite interesting matchup. The Rams visiting Detroit. Matt Stafford is going to visit his old team. This is the storyline everyone was talking about. And then Green Bay at the Cowboys. Classic rivalry. Dan, let's go for the first game. Your team at the Texans. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, no, I was a little nervous because Stroud's playing well, but I think Myles Garrett in the defense, I think they're going to rush him and make him feel rattled, rushing throws. I think, they're going to rest up, another week of resting the banged up players is going to help. And I think Flacco is going to have another 300-yard game, and I think the Browns are going to win a close game by 7.
And no one really talk about this, but Flacco has playoff experience. He's a Super Bowl champion. I do see Cleveland as a dark horse, Dan. I mean, you might not see it as a dark horse. You might see them as favorited to win everything, but do you see them as a dark horse?
I do. I think, this Houston team is if they could get by Houston, I think they could beat Baltimore. I think out of all these teams, I think Cleveland has the best chance to beat Baltimore just from their defense. So I think if they could win these two games, I think they would have a shot to go to the Super Bowl.
100%. And Houston's very beatable. So we'll see what happens in Houston this weekend. Miami at the Kansas City Chiefs. Miami, if they would have beat the Bills, would have got home field advantage. They would have had the Bills come again next week at Miami to play again. But this time they're going to Kansas City. But Dan, Kansas City's not as strong as before. Maybe Miami's not that worried.
No, I actually pulled a stat. You're not going to like it, but since 2017, the Dolphins are 0-7 when temperatures are below 30 or 36 degrees. So it's going to be about 11 in Kansas City. So, but I still think the problems that Kansas City has, they're not producing offensively. I think Miami is going to be able to put up a few more points than them and win this game.
Wow, you picked Miami. Interesting. Yeah, I think the 11-degree weather is not a good sign. Kansas City does have cold temperatures. They're in the middle of the country, so that jet stream comes in nicely. And, of course, Kansas City has Mahomes. But here's my thing, why Miami has a chance. Kansas City's offense has not been stellar. They've been relying on a lot on Kelsey. He's been carrying a lot of the load. Kadarius Toney and Raheem Rice has just been dropping balls or going offside a lot. So if Miami can tap down on Kelsey, they might have a shot. Tua obviously can't have turnovers. He needs to be accurate. Hill, this is another storyline, Dan, we haven't talked about. Going back to his not hometown, but his original team where he shined. Is that going to be a factor?
No, definitely. Speaking of storylines, I mean, I was reading this real quick. So this is like something like from WWE. So we got Goff used to play for the Rams and Stafford the Lions. McDermott and Tomlin were college teammates. Tyreek used to play as Chiefs, like you just said. And McCarthy used to be the coach of the Packers. I mean, this is like made for TV stuff for the NFL right now.
This is not done by. This is not done on purpose.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah.
No
I'm not a
coincidence.
conspiracy theorist. I just throwing that out
Hey, it happens. So those two games, Cleveland, Houston, Miami, Kansas City, are on Saturday. So it's going to be a busy Saturday for the both of us, Dan. Your game is at 4:30 p.m. My game is at 8 p.m. But
Well, now
obviously,
you
be
got to
watching
get on
both.
Peacock to watch Miami, Kansas,
Kansas
right?
City, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
just $6.
So
So
that's a NFL power move to get all the Swifties to buy Peacock so they can watch the game.
I think Peacock is going to make a lot of money that night.
I think.
Let's go the next day, Sunday. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what the stat line is there. What is the record? I believe someone told me Pittsburgh has a good record in Buffalo.
I'm not sure on that. I didn't.
I
See
gotta
the
double check on
stats
that.
on
But
that. Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen? I mean, Buffalo's been looking good. Pittsburgh with Mason's looking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say easily the Bills, but the Steelers, do they have a chance?
Well, they did. I don't think Watt's going to play. So that's going to be
That's
a
right. I think
problem
he got a knee
getting to
injury, right?
Allen. Yeah, he had a knee injury, and usually, I mean, it's going to be some time. So I don't think he's going to be ready or 100% to get to Allen. So that's a huge loss for their defense. So I think Buffalo is going to be able to make a few more plays and win this game. I think it'll probably be a close game, but I think at home Buffalo wins.
Yeah, Buffalo should have advantage. Might be a snowstorm. I've been seeing some snowstorms in New England. Might go into Buffalo. We'll see the weather. The best is 24 hours before. Let's go to the NFC. Dan, San Francisco's sitting pretty. They're getting rested. Philadelphia at Tampa. As we said, the Eagles have been having a horrible month in December and also yesterday. Tampa Bay, they didn't beat the Panthers badly. It was 9-0, but this game, it could be an Eagles. Hey, this is an easier team versus playing Detroit or Dallas. Is this a good game for them to come back on?
Yeah, I'm calling the upset here. I just haven't liked what Philly been doing the last month of the season. Started off hot, and, just digressed at the worst time. I mean, they're having problems defensively. Now they're banged up. I mean, is AJ Brown going to be healthier 100%? I think Baker, he didn't look good this last week. I think if he could get healthy this next week, I think he is playing to show that he's the guy, and I think he's going to wake up feeling dangerous, like he likes to say, and I think they're going to beat Philadelphia.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for Baker Mayfield to solidify the franchise quarterback in Tampa. So good opportunity for both teams. One team that could come back after a lousy 4 or 5 weeks, and Tampa, for Baker Mayfield feels like it's like a storyline for him. But this Tampa Bay to continue that playoff run even after Tom Brady left. Let's go a little bit up north. Rams at Detroit. Another storyline, of course, as Dan mentioned, and Jared Goff versus old team, and then Matt Stafford versus old team. That trade that everyone was like, wow, scratching their heads a bit. But it worked out for the both of them. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a primetime battle. I mean, a behind the scenes storyline for sure. I'm sure they both want to win this game to prove the other team wrong. I think Detroit's going to win this game. I mean, it'll be a good game, but the Rams, I just think, don't have everything that Detroit has. I think that Detroit will win by a touchdown.
Yeah, it might be a very close game. The Rams do have firepower, Cup, Puka, and Otwell. So I wouldn't be surprised Rams can win in Detroit in the dome. It was nice and comfortable. You have to worry about snowstorms or storm slushies, snow slushies. So good opportunity for both. But Detroit, congratulations. I know the struggle. Well, I don't know how it is because Dolphins have made it here and there, but Detroit have not made the playoffs in a while. Dan Campbell's having a fantastic season, emotional. So it'd be nice to see Detroit win it and go a little bit deep in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay at Dallas. Now, in the old day with Aaron Rodgers, Dallas has had trouble with the Packers. Packers had beat them in Dallas, and Cowboys can't win in Green Bay. And I mean, no one can win in Green Bay except Tom Brady. But this Packers team is a young team led by Jordan Love. This is a good opportunity for Cowboys to go deep, but what are your thoughts over this matchup?
Yeah, I think Dak's going to have a good game. He's got a lot to play for. I mean, you're proving the naysayers wrong. I think in their mind, it's Super Bowl or bust. So I think they're going to come out energized. I think Green Bay just sneaked in. I mean, I didn't really think they were going to make Jordan Love, young quarterback. So I think in this game, you got to go with Dak, much better quarterback at this point in his career than Jordan Love.
Yeah, Cowboys, I believe, have not made the NFC Championship game since 1998. So I like to see them go there first and see where it goes because they're always bowed out in the semifinal, the NFC divisional round, but they will not be facing San Francisco. So this is a good upside on them. If they beat Green Bay, they could play, Detroit probably,
Right.
or maybe Tampa. So that's not a bad thing. We'll see, but you don't want to put all your money in the Cowboys sometimes.
Yeah,
Well, there you
exactly.
have it. I pick your dark horses. My dark horse for the AFC obviously is Cleveland. I said it before. In the West, NFC, I'm gonna pick the Rams as my dark horse. Dan, what are your dark horses for the AFC and NFC?
Yeah, so definitely Cleveland. Obviously no favoritism there, but no, I think they definitely have a guy that's got experience to go to the Super Bowl. The defense can play with anyone, hold teams, and I would have to go with you. I think the Rams, are a dark horse. I mean, they've been peaking at the right time. Great coach in Sean McVay, good weapons for the receivers. So I think if they could get by Detroit, I think they could be a legitimate dark horse.
Yeah, and they do face they'll probably face San Francisco, so it'll be a California derby. It'll be quite interesting. So the game starts Saturday afternoon, 4:30, and then goes Saturday night and Sunday. There's 3 games, and then Monday night game is Philadelphia, Tampa. So there is a Monday night game, so you guys don't get bored. But there you have it. That's the playoffs. January here on the Sportscast. Before we go, we're going to do some breaking news from this morning. As we talked about earlier in the show, Arthur Smith got fired by Atlanta Falcons. Ron Rivera got rid. The Commanders let go of Ron Rivera, having a 3-14 series season record. The Commanders actually hired former GM of the Golden State Warriors this morning, Bob Myers as the Commanders GM. So, Dan, Commanders are making moves already.
Yeah, no, it wasn't surprising that the coach got fired. Interesting that they're going with the basketball guy for football. But
I've never seen that before. Have you?
Apparently, no, I don't really understand that, but I'm sure analytics and stuff. But that's an interesting move there. So see how that works out for him.
Yeah, and to give credit to Bob Myers, he did build the Warriors championship team, with Steph Curry and Draymond and Klay Thompson. But it is, as Dan said, it is NFL football, and you want to be very familiar with the personnel in the league. Right. I don't know if Bob likes football. I mean, I'm sure he does. If not, he would not take the job. But quite a move for the Commanders. Bill Belichick, as we mentioned earlier today, had a press conference. We don't know he's been getting rid of yet. I don't think so. As I said before, Dan, I said this like the past 2 weeks. The Patriots are not going to let him go today. I think it's going to take some days if they do. I don't think it could take a week. What I also heard, Dan, they might use him as a trade guy. Like they might use him as a pawn to trade for something else in the NFL. Now, obviously, it could be a place like the Raiders, which he has a quarterback named Henry Garoppolo, who he's coached before and picked and drafted. You got the Chargers, but I'm thinking Jim Harbaugh is going to gravitate towards LA. And then you got the Commanders. Where do you see Bill Belichick going?
I think it's going to be hard to get rid of him. I mean, I think he'll be back. I don't think they're going to fire him. I really don't.
If he does come back, then I think they'll say, "Look, Bill, you'll have to give up your GM role as well. Your role. We'll keep you as coach, but we need someone in the operations front office so they can deal with players because he was doing both jobs.
Yeah,
dealing with trade. So I think that's something that he might have to compromise, or they might say, "Hey, you gotta stop using your son. I heard he's not really liked in the locker room, something like that." But we'll see what happens with the Patriots organization. They're different. They got their own plane.
yeah.
They do things in their own rules. So I'm not surprised. I've not heard any news today. And then he had a press conference this morning early at 7:30. I don't remember last time a coach having a press conference this early. So maybe he's strategizing.
And he wanted to maybe get out ahead of it a little bit.
Very smart.
Yeah.
And also found out yesterday, Dan, he actually likes the Harry Potter series.
Really? Wow.
I did not know that. Someone told me yesterday. So a lot of news. Black Mondays happened today. Only 2 firings. Also, the Commanders got rid of their GM, obviously. The Panthers did too. They got rid of their general manager as well. That organization is also a huge issue there. So do you think anyone else who might be ousted, or do you think this is it for today?
Well, I mean, everyone, I think Shepner said that the number was close to 10 coaches. So I'm trying to figure out who else
That's a lot of coaches
would be on the hot seat. Yeah. So,
I mean,
it'll be interesting.
I would think the coaches that made the playoffs will probably not be ousted.
There's kind of questions that if Pete Carroll, I mean,
wow,
if he's, I've heard some rumblings, with that. So I don't know.
Man, that'd be terrible. I mean, Pete Carroll is a legendary coach.
Yeah.
And he has some good showings this season, but he's up there in age.
Yeah.
And a lot of these teams are hiring young coaches,
younger coach,
like the Matt LaFleur's, the Shanahan's, Mike McDaniel. He's very likable. Did you see his face expressions of those touchdowns?
Oh yeah.
What? Anyways, a lot going on in the NFL. It only gets more exciting. Got the NFL wild card this weekend. Dan, one more prediction tonight is the National Championship, Michigan versus the Washington Huskies. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think Washington, I mean, everyone's been counting them out. I mean, to be in the playoff and if they'll be able to compete with these big dogs, and they're really showing that they belong. I think they have 3, NFL caliber receivers, a quarterback. I think offensively, I think they're going to be able to score on Michigan. Michigan's deep in the trenches. They're going to make it more physical, but I just think on the edges, getting the ball down the field, I really like Washington in this one. It's going to be a close game. I think they win by a field goal.
Yeah, a lot of storylines tonight. Washington obviously represents the Pac-12, and this is the last hurrah of the Pac-12. And, of course, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, I heard he's leaving no matter what. He's hired an NFL agent, and obviously the Chargers are the team that I've been hearing a lot for gravitation. And I guess once he wins tonight, the Chargers could just, hey, here's your contract. We'd love to, come by and help out this young man named Justin Herbert. And he's very, very, very familiar with the NFC West already. No, sorry, AFC West. Well, not very familiar with that, but he knows what's going on in Los Angeles. So anyways, exciting times now going over all this recap and news and hirings. We'll for sure keep you guys up to date on our Twitter, the Sportscast1. But before we go, Dan, what is the best way to reach you online? And hey, we're going to prepare for this Browns game this weekend.
Yeah, right. You can meet me on X, Danimal2478, or Facebook, Dan Madden. Just search for my name, and here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woo, woo.
You're feeling good. I'm not feeling good with Miami, but looking to Kansas City, I think they're more beatable than last year or 2 years ago. I'm just giving some optimism out there. The only thing that stops is the weather. Like Dan mentioned, 11-degree weather does not help. But hey, you got to win in tough times. You can reach us at the Sportscast1 on X and Instagram, or visit our website, thesportscast.net. thesportscast.net, and we'll be definitely tweeting along all week today. As Dan said, there might be more firings today. I think the Patriots might take a week or two, or maybe a month. You know how they do it, and we'll see how everything goes. But anyways, have a safe, warm January 8th. Dan, I appreciate you coming on to the Sportscast.
Later.
And this was your update.